Hey guys, it's Hannah and welcome back to the Dyslexic Reader. Today we are just going to be doing a super quick book haul because I had the day off today and nobody to hang out with. And what do you do on those days? You go around every single charity shop in the city looking for cheap books. The first three books I'm going to show you I just picked up from the library today, so I'll just quickly show them first because they'll probably be the first sort of things that I'm picking up after I finish my current book. I got Arsenic for Tea, which is a murder most unladylike mystery. I love these books. I've read about 3 or 4 of them. They're just middle grade mysteries centered around 2 girls who stay in an English boarding school. It's sort of like Victorian era, turn of the century, and they're just really good fun, quick reads, and I always just keep an eye out for them in the library, and this is one that I have not read yet. The second book that I picked up was The House of Hades, which is the 4th book in Heroes of Olympus, which would make it the 9th in the Percy Jackson series. And yeah, I'm enjoying these. They're getting thicker and thicker, which is kind of putting me off them a little bit. I think we're getting too many different points of view. Like the last book was written from 7 different points of view, like it switched between them all. But they have all sort of been split up, so hopefully there'll not be as many points of view in this book. And I really love Hades in the underworld, and how it is portrayed through Greek mythology I think is super interesting. I find it way more interesting than Olympus and sort of how everything works down there and how they portray the afterlife. So I think if this is centered around Hades, it should be pretty good. I also picked up The Copper Gauntlet, which is the 2nd in the Magisterium series by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I enjoyed The Iron Trial. I didn't think it was fabulous, but I thought the concept was super cool. The writing wasn't fabulous, the characters were okay, they were good, like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great. But especially coming near the end, the concept really grabbed me, so when I saw the second one at the library, I couldn't say no. Now on to the books that I got from the charity shops throughout the day. I managed to pick up 5 books for £4, which is absolutely nothing, and I'm so excited. The first one that I picked up was Good Omens, which is by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This copy's pretty beat up, but like who cares, all the pages are there, and actually like inside the books in like fine order. It's just the cover's a bit battered, but that really doesn't bother me. This is a story about, there's been a prophecy from a witch that the world is going to end, and this is the week running up to the world ending, and like God's trying to get like everything in order, and there's like an angel and a demon, and they've been living on Earth, and they like living with the humans, and they don't really want the world to end, and apparently it's just really funny and interesting. I've been trying to read more Neil Gaiman because I've read some of his stuff and loved it, and read some of his stuff and hated it, so I'm trying to get a wider sort of cast of his work. And I have never read anything by Terry Pratchett. I don't know where, oh here, I picked this up at a boot sale last week. Nation by Terry Pratchett. It's a standalone. Most Terry Pratchett I see are part of like a big massive series, and they're always like number 17, and I'm like, there's no point getting that. And my library doesn't stock any Terry Pratchett for some reason. So I found this, it's a standalone. So I think I'll read this first and see how I feel about Terry Pratchett. Then I'll tuck into this and see what it's like. But I'm not in the mood for it at the minute, but I thought it was a good buy at 50p. Then I picked up Life of Pi. Again, this was 50p. I have not really much interest in this book, but I have heard beyond phenomenal things about it. And also, I'm trying to, throughout the course of my life, complete the Rory Gilmore reading challenge, which, if you don't know Gilmore Girls, Rory Gilmore reads like, I don't know what, like it's so, she's just never has a book out of her hand, and someone went through the whole TV show and catalogued every book that she was seen holding or made reference to or mentioned the title. And they compiled a whole list, like a Roy Gilmore reading list, and there's like 400 books on it, and I'll probably never get to them all, but I like every month or so to maybe tick one off, and this is on it, so I did eventually plan to get round to reading it at some point, so when I saw it cheap and good condition, I had to get it. The next book intrigued me purely because of its cover. It's The One in a Million Boy, and if you think the cover is stunning, it's a hardback too for 50p, like what on earth. And then look at the end pages. Like, I'm normally not for buying books because of covers, but this is a pretty beautiful book. There's not much to know about this book, and when I looked at the blurb and on Goodreads, it doesn't say much, so I'm feeling like I should keep it that way. I like to go into books not knowing much to begin with. But it says, on the first Saturday the boy arrived in a grey van, commandeered by a well-constructed scoutmaster in a pressed uniform. On the second Saturday, after he'd cleaned and filled the feeders in a precise imitation of the previous week, the boy confided his passion for world records. So I'm guessing filling the feeders is something to do with birds. On the 10th Saturday, he did not appear at all. Nor did he appear on the following Saturday. On the Saturday after that, his father came. So I'm completely guessing, just purely from that is maybe a boy who through a youth organisation or maybe like has been made to do community service, has to do some sort of charity work that involves birds, and then he just stops coming and there'll be some sort of mystery surrounding that. I really have no idea. It's quite a big book, and normally I don't like commit to big books when I don't know a lot about them or I'm not fairly certain that I'm going to like it. But the text is pretty big and well spaced out, so I think I'll be giving this one a go pretty soon. I'm intrigued by it. I also picked up Between the Assassinations by Aravid Adiga. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. The cover struck me on this one too. When you're looking through charity shops, they're not sorted a lot of the time by genre or author. They're just sort of piled in. So when you just see all the spines, that's what you're drawn to. Sun's going in and out like crazy here today. But I thought the artwork on the cover was just beautiful. I'm not usually one into New York Times bestseller, prize winner type things, but the author is award winning, has won the Man Booker Prize, and there's a lot of praise on this. It's just a short story collection, and all the stories are based in India. I am not normally a huge fan of short stories, but the sort of atmosphere of this caught me. It seems to be very character and setting driven rather than plot. And it just follows several short stories about people who live in India. And as far as I can tell, people have really loved this. They've said it's really accurate and the sort of description in the stories is just fantastic. And if it's a short story collection that I own, normally I get them from the library and then I feel like I have to blitz through them just like any other book. Bing. But when I own it, I'm able to pick one out, read it, see if I like it, come back to it in a wee while, read another one and take my time. So I think this will be nice for like the last couple of weeks of the summer, just dipping in and out of it. And my final book is probably the one that I'm most excited for. If you're my similar age group and you grew up in the UK, you probably remember The Animals of Farthing Wood. It was a children's animated TV show that chronicled the life of a band of animals who lived in a wood together, and the wood was being destroyed to allow for some sort of building. You never really know if it's a house or a hotel or a shopping complex or what it is, but they're destroying the forest and the animals lose all their home and have to go in search of a new home. And they're just all together. There's frogs and badgers and foxes and I was able to pick up the novelisation. Now this is the first, I know there is a couple of novels in this series, and I'm not sure at what point this will wrap up, but I had the little mini books that were based off the TV show when I was a kid, and I reread them like a million times, and I loved the TV show. And when I saw such a beautiful copy of this today, I could not resist. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it is a heartbreaking tale, but it's filled with characters that I'm sure I will connect with immediately if they're anything like the TV show. And I think I'll keep this for like maybe a time when I'm sort of like book slumping and I need something to like pull me out of it, and just a nice easy read that'll like get me back into loving reading again. I think that will be like the perfect book to do that for me. That's all that I picked up today. I am really pleased with my spread for the day and the good finds that I was able to dig out. I hope that you're all happy. I hope that you're all healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.